At Open Circle, we share practices that show that all of life is practice. And keeping in this theme of hope, this morning, our practice is going to be to write a hope manifesto. So I'm so excited for you to join me in this. And oh goodness, I have been having the hardest time with hope lately between the news and the weather and, like long West Michigan winters, my own mental space. It's hard to connect with hope. And actually, I think hope has always been difficult for me. I really resonated with what Ed said. And for me, it so quickly feels cheap or fake. But every time I talk about my lack of hope, I feel like I'm met with kind of thin, one-dimensional responses or solutions. And those responses always kind of make me a little angsty at best and judgy at worst. I'm always thinking, like, do you even understand hope and suffering? Because that response you're giving me feels just lacking. So I feel really resistant to hope. And yet, something that I know in my bones is that I still do hope. I want more hope. I want real, true, gritty, messy, heavy hope. So while I keep trying to break it off with hope, hope keeps believing in me more than I believed in it. Great. And I think one of these things before we enter into this practice that's important to invite even you to reflect on is, what is your location in relationship to hope? Where do you fall in relationship to hope? Do you tend to be more towards habits of toxic positivity, the tendency to not sit with pain and fear and instead move on too quickly? Like everything's on fire and you're just like, wow, this is great, we can hope. Or are you on the other side of that, hope resistant, kind of an addict to cynicism? Hope is pointless and worthless. And so asking yourself, where do you fall in this space in relationship to hope? And sure, those examples were quite overdramatic, but as we go through, I just invite you to investigate what your hope location is. And again, there's no right answer or wrong answer. There's just your answer. And the more honest you can be with that, the more helpful your explorations will be. So we're going to take a few minutes on a guided reflection through your experience of and with hope. And you'll leave from this time with a short hope manifesto to reflect on and meditate on through the week. So I'm going to read to you the same words that we read during our opening practice, and just take a moment and take a few deep breaths. And here are these words from Jan Richardson. Hope nonetheless, hope despite, hope regardless, hope still, hope where we had ceased to hope, hope amid what threatens hope, hope with those who feed our hope, hope beyond what we had hoped, hope that draws us past our limits, hope that defies expectations, hope that questions what we have known, hope that makes a way where there is none, hope that takes us past our fear, hope that calls us into life, hope that holds us beyond death, and hope that blesses those to come. So as we move into this time of reflection, you may want just something to take notes on, whether that's your phone, a piece of paper. And I will be reading a set of questions. Feel free to write down words or phrases that may stand out to you. And for each reflection time, I'll be reading these questions at a steady pace. So don't feel the need to answer every question. Just use them to draw out the larger themes that may be speaking to you. And again, remember, there are no right answers, no wrong answers, just your answers. So, in this first reflection time, I invite you to think about hope. What is hope? What does it look like? What does it feel like? When have you experienced the most hope? When you're feeling hopeless, what reminds you of hope? Where do you feel hope right now in your body? And right now, in this moment, what would hope say to you? And what would you say to hope? So I'd love for you to just write down the sentence that's on the slide. Hope is, and fill in that blank. What is hope to you? If you could define it in a word or phrase, what does it mean? What does it feel like? What does it offer to you? Hope is. Right, and our next reflection, I invite you to identify your biggest resistance to hope. What does that resistance feel like? Where do you experience it in your body? What is your resistance saying to you? Can you name that resistance? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Sadness? Disappointment? Desperation? What would you say to hope from this place of resistance? And what might hope have to say to you? Then take a look at the sentence on the screen. I welcome my hope and my, what is your biggest resistance? Together. Because the hope here, the invitation is not to stamp out hope or your resistance, but that you can hold them together, honor both of them. And in order to do that, it's much easier when you've identified and named your resistance. So take a moment and think about that. You welcome your hope and whatever your greatest resistance to hope is together. And our third reflection. What excites you about hope? Either the hope that you experience now or the hope that you hope to have. What's the invitation? Is it to dream, to desire, to play, to imagine? What possibility does hope offer to you? What imagination does hope offer to you? Where do you feel the excitement of hope in your body? What do you have to say to this excitement or this possibility? And what might this excitement or possibility have to say to you? And what is it that's easier to believe when you're accessing your hope? So this final sentence for you, based on your reflection, finish this sentence with something that your excitement or the possibility of hope revealed to you. I hold hope and believe what? I hold hope and believe. So these 3 sentences give you a bit of a hope manifesto, something to look at and interact with this week as you continue to explore and develop your relationship with hope. Those 3 sentences together are: hope is, I welcome my hope and my resistance together, and I hold hope and believe. And this week, I invite you to post this somewhere you'll see it or interact with it frequently. Take a few moments every day to meditate on the words that you wrote down. Maybe if you feel led, pray to see invitations of where you can see the world through the eyes of hope this week. Naming your hope, welcoming your hope and resistance together, and remembering the possibility and the excitement that hope has to offer you. Thank you so much.